Hello everybody. Today's video lesson is all about decomposition. Alright, so what is decomposition? Well, it's when things break down or decompose or rot away. Alright, that's a simple definition that we might use as kids. But if we're thinking more scientifically, when things decompose, they go through a chemical change and they break down into their essential elements or chemicals. They return their nutrients or their value back into the earth. Now, we're going to do a little bit of an investigation starting this week, over the next few weeks. We're going to find out which materials that we might find in our rubbish dump will decompose the best. But to understand what decomposition means, I thought I would do a video for you out here in my backyard next to my worm farm. And the reason why it's a little bit dark is because I had to wait till the afternoon when the sun is starting to go down a little bit before I open my worm farm and show you, because worms don't like the sun, and when we expose them to the sun they do get burned, and that's not very good for my best little friends out in the garden. We certainly don't want them to get all hot and bothered now, do we? Alright, so I'm going to take the iPad off the stand and I'm going to try my best to hold it and talk at the same time while we have a look inside the worm farm and we talk about what we can see in there. Okay? Okay, so this is my worm farm. This is how I keep it. I have a couple of trays going at the moment, and what is over the top there is called my worm blanket. Alright, so I'll take the blanket off. Alright, so here is my worm farm with the blanket removed. Alright, so at the moment it just looks like a bunch of dirt and stuff. Now I've got my little torch here because it is a bit dark, and my worm farm actually looks like it's a bit dry, so I might add some water to it after I make this video. So what we can see here is some a old banana skin. There's some leaves in here. That looks like a piece of apple right there. Another banana skin, leaves. There's all those little white flecks are eggshells. There's some more eggshells just there. And we might go looking for some worms, hey? Now the reason why we can't see any here at the moment is because I had this open a second ago making a video, but it was terrible, so I've started again. Alright, so I will pop the iPad down for a sec, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to lift up the first tray and we'll have a look at the second tray. So here we can see I've got lots of worms, and what they're going to do right now is dig down because they don't like the light. So the bottom tray is where they've eaten most of the fruit and vegetables, and they have decomposed that. That means they have turned it back into nutrients for the soil. What the worms do is eat the organic material. That's plants, grass, leaves. You could put shredded paper or cardboard in there. It might be fruit and vegetable scraps from the kitchen, but it's all organic material that once did come from the earth. Okay, things that did grow in the earth, in the ground, are being returned back to the ground through the worms. The worms are eating them and pooping out those beautiful nutrients, okay, for our beautiful garden so we can grow things. Okay, see, they're all starting to get back down into that ground. They don't like me shining torches at them. They don't like that at all. So you can see down here, this soil is really rich and dark. Well, that's poo. That's worm poo. Or that's really, really beautiful worm castings. And that's going to help my garden immensely when I harvest it and mix it all through. So when we're talking about decomposition, let's have a look back here at the top. We have things in here. We've got some eggshells, organic materials, and our worms are in there too, but they're probably buried down under that top layer of soil so they don't see any light. We're talking about natural and organic materials. that we put into our gardens and the worms help to break them down. But what about other things that don't get put into our garden? What about other materials that we take to the dump? Do they decompose? Do all of our old clothes that don't fit us anymore, do they decompose? What happens to all of those? What happens to all of our rubbish that we take to the tip, or the wheelie bin the garbage man takes to the tip? Does that decompose? What about all the leftover rubbish from your last birthday party? What happens to that stuff? Does that decompose? So we're going to do some investigating on some different types of materials, on their rate of decomposition and which materials would be the best for us to make things out of. And what we will do is we're going to take a piece of apple tomorrow, or when you have your science class, and we are going to use that as our control, because we know that apple is an organic material and it does decompose, because I've got apple bits in my worm farm and the worms love to eat that and they break that down and return the nutrients back to the soil. So we'll use an apple as a control so we can compare it, and then we're going to take some other materials that you might ordinarily throw away at the rubbish dump, and we're going to test to see whether they can decompose or not. And this investigation is probably going to last a few weeks for us, because it won't happen overnight. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at decomposition. We're looking at which types of materials are the best for our environment. Okay? Thank you. See you later.